I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
肩に手を乗せ I have クロスして a bad case お腹をさすって of diarrhea ジェスチャーゲームの要領です。感情を込めてやってみましょう。
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today is whatever day you're listening to this on. I don't know. It's August.
I feel like that's the new engine. Today is the day that you are existing.
Today is the day the Lord hath made. Let us be glad and rejoice.
Today is the day the Lord hath made it 4:20 on the clock.
On the prayer
on
clock.
The prayer clock.
We should have James Earl Jones say that instead. We gotta get a fucking James Earl Jones cameo. Does he on Cameo?
Is he dead?
Oh, that would make it way harder. I don't know who's dead or alive.
That would be harder.
Let's
see if he's alive. Let me do
Yeah.
a search real quick.
Shit, because
if he's alive,
and on Cameo, we got to figure out a way to like pay James Earl Jones to like read the Skeptic's Creed or something. That says is an American actor, not
82,
was.
92. 92? What?
He's an old man. Holy
92.
shit. Yeah, he's probably not on Cameo.
Well, good for him. 92.
God damn. Do you want to live to 92?
If I'm functional, sure.
Yeah.
I certainly don't if I'm not. Like that doesn't sound like it'd be great.
I am under strict orders from Haley that I have to die after her.
Oh,
like
okay.
she's made this very clear. This is a requirement. And like she says it a lot. Like this
She's
is like
small. You could smother her.
That's true. It's a miracle I haven't, to be honest. But I'm under strict orders. And like the other day, which is fine. I'm like, yeah, no problem. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then like, but I'm older than she is by 3 years. Okay. And the other day we're talking to the kids and she's like, yeah, I want to live to 90. I'm like, you're putting me to 93.
That's old.
You're putting me to 93 plus.
That's old.
I don't know that I want to make it tonight. I have no hope based on how I've lived the first 45 years.
93 is a lot.
Yeah, man.
93 feels like a lot.
Dude, stacking another 48 years out of this fucking
Ask
pig.
me that in 20 years, though.
Yeah.
And I might be like, 93 looks great.
93 looks awesome. I know. I know, man.
Yeah.
But it's just like I wake up and I'm like.
The farther you get on that scale, the more appealing it appears. That's for sure.
At 45, there are times I'll wake up and be like, I got to pee, but nah, I'm too achy. I'll just like, be like, I'm not going to get out of bed. I'd rather just lay here.
That's why I have a waterproof sheet.
Like this thing just hurts all the time. All right, so this first story comes from PolitiFact, and it is a fact check of this insane Instagram virality
I am
post.
so glad that PolitiFact has put its great power behind this particular check, Tom. Go ahead.
The tornado, Jesus Christ. The tornado that destroyed a Pfizer building in North Carolina was orchestrated using weather manipulation to provide an insurance claim for Big Pharma.
If you had the funds to create a weather machine, why do you need insurance money?
Everything about, so here's what has to be happening.
Yeah.
You are Big Pharma, and you control a weather machine.
Sure.
And you're like, well, I know I'm already Big Pharma.
Yeah.
But I'm going to wipe out my own structure, my own building, to get an insurance check. But that's not, like, insurance isn't, getting an insurance check isn't profitable. You lose your building. So like
that is so true. It is so true because they never value it at what it's worth.
Right.
Like what it's worth is not. You don't win the lottery when your house burns down.
Yeah, right. Look, it's not like you're building full of all the work that you've been doing that gets like swept away, and the insurance company's like, "What's the Kelly Blue Book on all the work that was all inside that work? Here?"
It's like, nah, we're gonna replace the building and maybe some of the parts, and we're gonna do it at cost, and so it's probably not gonna be super great.
We're gonna give you pennies on the dollar, depreciated against all your assets, but also like, here's how crazy the conspiracy theorists have gotten. Something bad happened to Pfizer, and they're like, "Bet that was good for Pfizer." I bet Pfizer wanted that to happen. What?
These guys could find a way to lose by winning or win by losing or whatever.
What the shit is all this?
It's so amazing. It's so funny. It is such backwards ass thinking. And what's the craziest part is PolitiFact had to get somebody to be like, can you run this down?
I know.
Can you figure?
Like, how do you, here's the thing I admire about PolitiFact is that somebody, if I worked at PolitiFact and somebody was like, hey, there's a bunch of Instagram posts, I'd be like, I quit. I quit forever. I quit so hard I never worked here.
Tom punches his boss in the face. He's like, get away from me. I will fight you. And then you break the door on your way out. Tom pulls the door so hard it breaks. And then he leaves.
That's only to get in places. I've never done that to get out of a place. I would.
Well, you've never been in this situation.
I've never been locked in it.
You have no idea how you're going to react. You could break a bunch of doors. You could break the airlock door on the way out. You kidding me? Can you check this Instagram post about Big Pharma and weather control?
Yeah, sure. It's not true.
Yeah.
I'm going to lunch.
I could do this from home. Yeah. You know what's so funny too is like if they did have the control of the weather, they would just make it rainy all the time and sell us antidepressants. But instead, they made it really hot, and they're going to kill us all. So So
if I had a weather machine and I could make it rain, I'd go to the strip club.
There's no other place better to make it rain. To make it rain, my bud.
This starts from Business Insider. I gotta say, Cecil found the stories this week for the fun. They're killing me. They're killing me. A woman who said she won the $1.08 billion Powerball jackpot was lying and, quote, just wanted to be on TV, store owner's granddaughter says.
And they literally came up and they said it, and she said, yeah, I won.
And it's like, I love this because it's like, I won the Powerball. It's like, cool, can I see your ticket?
No. And then they run away.
That's the whole story, though. That's it. Like, you don't have the winning ticket. You're gonna get caught. You just wanted to be on TV as a liar?
What do you do with $1.808 billion, man? Oh, God. I sleep in for so many days in a row. Are you kidding me?
Oh, if I had here's the thing. I would be very good at being rich.
You think?
Yeah, I think I would.
You think
I would
be good at it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are bad at being rich because they're not me. And if and I think I would just be terrific at it.
I wish you could just crowdfund being rich.
Yeah.
I wish you could just be like, look, I think I could do a good job at it. Make me rich. I wish there was like a Brewster's Millions TV show.
Thank you.
Where they give you like $10 million or whatever if you spend $1 million in a month.
I would bang that out.
It'd be so amazing. Brewster's Millions TV show.
That was a fun movie.
It would also be a very expensive TV show.
It would be a very expensive TV show. Very, very expensive.
I'm sure it'll be a Muskell funded eventually. He likes to give away money. $1 billion is a goddamn. It's an immense amount of money.
I played with the numbers the other day on $1 billion just thinking about it because there was a post, I don't remember where I saw it, one of these horrible toxic groups I'm on Facebook that I can't quit for whatever reason. And somebody was complaining about, billionaires or millionaires or giving away money or socialists. I don't fucking remember what it was. But I looked at it and I was like, it was somebody asking a question. They were like, would you, if you won $1 billion lottery, would you give away money to your family and friends? And there were a bunch of people in the comments saying like, I'd give, a few thousand to this person or 10,000 to that person. And I was like, I'm just going to run the numbers real quick. And I ran the numbers. And if you had $1 billion, Cecil, and you decided you were going to give $1 million to 100 of your closest family and friends.
Do you get a billion.
Well, no, you get some. You get, let's say you get a smaller amount.
So let's say you get 400 million.
Well, but I did the math on $1 billion, so you got to just understand like
I see. Okay.
what $1 billion was,
see.
and I put this in this like group or whatever. But it's like,
But I want to argue with you about
got
it.
$1 billion. Don't argue with the math. If you gave $1 million to 100 of your closest friends, $1 million.
I don't have 100 close friends.
I don't have 100. I'd have a lot of extra.
I'd have a lot of extra $1 million.
So if you gave
I
away
could double up a lot of people.
$100 million, Cecil, and then you took the other $900 million that you had left over, and then you put it in a savings account like a great big dumb idiot. You put it in a savings account at about a 4.37% yield, which is about an approximate yield for a savings account. You'd be insane to do that, right? But you put it in a fucking savings account. How long would it take you to make back the $100 million that you gave away?
I feel a lot of pressure right now.
2 years.
No shit.
You'd be a billionaire again in 2 years. You could give away $100 million. You could give away $1 million to 100 people. Take it, put it in a savings account.
Or you could live on like $50 million a year, basically.
Yeah, it's insane how much money that much money is. It's just a crazy, wild, lunatic amount. Like that number doesn't even make sense. When I started playing with $1 billion, I had to download a different calculator for my iPhone. Because my iPhone was just like, it put like the fucking like E and the 6 or whatever. And I was like, that's not useful.
Yeah. Can you imagine being like Elon Musk though and have 200 of those?
Yeah.
Like that's so much money, man.
It's literally like it's so much money that like other things start to not make sense anymore.
Right.
You know, like other scaled thought processes don't make sense anymore. I love that she just wanted to be on TV.
No, man, that's how you do it too. You just run up on, they're out in front of the place where they sold the lottery ticket and she just runs up and says, I won, and then she runs away. You're my spirit animal. I love it. Tom, I put this in the notes because I know how much you hate all things
crypto,
all
blockchain,
things crypto,
NFT.
all things blockchain. I know you hate it so much.
I do.
And so I just want to put this on the big screen for people who are watching us.
This
Go ahead and
is
read this out loud because I know it's going to bring you great joy.
NFT of Jack Dorsey's first tweet, originally purchased for $2.9 million, is worth less than $4.
$4.
Less than $4 in today's market.
If you had that $1 billion and you gave $2 million to somebody and they bought the NFT tweet, wouldn't you punch him in the face? Wouldn't you?
I would fucking kill them.
I would be like,
I'd kill him in the street.
$2 million and you didn't like pay off your house. You bought a tweet.
You bought
a tweet.
You bought an NFT of a tweet.
Yeah,
you don't even have the tweet.
I know you're right. You're absolutely
Cecil,
right.
I remember sitting in your kitchen. I had never heard of an NFT before, and Ian first tried to explain an NFT to me, and I was like, I don't really get that. And then like I remember trying to understand it, and then I sat in your kitchen and I talked to you and your wife about NFTs, and I was just like, I keep thinking with all this crypto shit, I must not understand it. And so then I keep reading more about it.
It's not.
And then I'm like, no, this is not a failure of my imagination.
NFT is garbage. It's nothing. It's a nothing.
You didn't buy anything.
You bought nothing.
I love that somebody's out $2.9 million, and then they tried to sell it. But they try to flip it at first. They bought this thing for $2.9 million. They have literally nothing to show for it because an NFT is nothing. It's literally just nothing.
Why would you spend that much money?
It's nothing. So then they have their air pocket or whatever, and they're like, well, I'll flip it. And then they try to flip it for like $28 million. And they're like, well, if you guys buy it, I'll give half of the extra to charity. And nobody bought it because it's literally nothing. And now it's worth less than a fucking grande Starbucks drink.
Here's the thing, though. Like, it's not worth anything. Period.
Yeah.
Like that. Like an
$4
NFT
is overvalued.
NFT is nothing. It is literally nothing. The only thing you're paying for is for like somebody's computer to go grrr once in a while. That's what you're paying for. It's a useless item. And all NFTs were like this. The person who invented this and thought this up, what an amazing grift this was.
Oh,
to think this up and then maybe come out on top. The person who sold this thing to them or whatever. Who sold it to him? It wasn't this guy.
It wasn't Jack Dorsey. I don't know who even purports to own the NFT. Like, who fucking minted the fucking NFT of the
whoever
first tweet?
did it, what a genius move!
It's
because
fucking awesome.
They pulled $2.9 million out of the thin air.
They had to be
this
laughing.
is a magic trick.
God, can you imagine when you finally got your when that happened, you're like, I sold nothing and I got $2.9 million for what? Nothing. You know why? Something will point to something on a fucking spreadsheet somewhere. That's what you bought.
Unreal.
You bought a digital pointer finger to a spreadsheet.
You bought nothing, and you spent someone's entire work life on it.
Yeah, right. Fucking unreal. And it's worth less than $4. I love it so much. Oh, God. This story is great, Cecil. This story is from channelnewsasia.com.
Yeah,
sure
sorry.
it is.
I found it from a weird spot.
I'm right there with you, buddy.
No, it's
Silly
okay.
show.
Silly show.
Don't believe
matter.
it. Man who sued woman over luxury watch sales ordered to refund her $28,000 instead as they're fake.
She sold these he sold the watches to her and she didn't pay him.
Yeah.
She wound up like not paying.
She was like, these are fake. I'm not paying.
I'm not paying. He's like, well, I'll sue you. And then they sued him and they're like, yeah, no, they're fake. Like you can't charge people like obscene amounts of money for something that's not real that you purported as real. That's not how this works.
And then they're like, not only did you not win your lawsuit, you owe her money. Which I love.
What? You're a watch guy.
I am. Yeah.
If you looked at Rolexes,
I've never looked at one because they're like, I buy what like would be called like fashion watches. So like I don't have anything very expensive. I have one watch that's a low 4-figure watch. Most of my watches are a few $100.
Yeah.
I just think they look cool. They're like, go good with this outfit or that outfit, that kind of thing. So you're like a
designer sort of watch. It like does a thing. It looks like a thing. And it's like a guy bracelet.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly it. I don't have them as investments.
Yeah.
I got one watch as a gift very recently from Haley. It was a vintage watch. That watch is like an expensive watch, but by like Rolex standards, it's like not even
It's
like
nothing.
the extra chain links.
I looked at how much they are, and I was like, how much is like a low end?
Yeah,
like the lowest end, and you're like, it's what now?
Yeah, dude, it's a car.
It's seriously like $40,000.
Yeah, it's a nice car.
That's a low end. I mean, I can't imagine. And you know, I know this. I know that there's people out there who obsess about certain things, right?
Yeah.
But there are some things in my life that I just don't understand. I'm like, I don't get spending that kind of money on it. And like, this is one of those things where you're like, you spent how much on it?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is that unlike other pieces of jewelry, you got to figure it as jewelry. Most jewelry depreciates extremely rapidly, but like high end, they call them timepieces, often appreciate.
Oh,
value.
really?
Yeah.
So it's an investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Like if you buy your wife like a diamond ring, the day you buy that ring, it's worth significantly less. It's like driving a car off the lot. You can't turn around and resell that ring for what you paid for it. It's immediately worth like a huge amount less, like less than half of what you bought it for.
Wow.
Usually. Yeah, they really depreciate very quickly. The resale market for jewelry is pretty bad. It's pretty poor. The resale market for timepieces, high-end timepieces, is extremely good. And if you get like one of the pieces that ends up becoming a collector's piece or, you know, becomes coveted and like they can go up and triple, they can become 10, 15 times worth.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
So they can be really good investments.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Huh.
I have a buddy that owns a bunch of like timepieces and most of them have appreciated.
Does he wear them?
Yeah, he will wear them from time to time.
I would never put something that, I mean, that's like wearing your 401k.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
I don't know that I would want to do that.
He's in a different income bracket.
Sounds like a rich guy if he's got
dough.
If you have to do air quotes and say timepieces, Tom, I imagine that the man has a lot of money.
I don't buy the whole timepiece thing.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking pretentious.
Yeah.
I own some watches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have watches. I think they look cool. I wear them like, oh, this watch looks good with that suit. This watch looks good with that thing. That's why I do it. It's a piece of jewelry.
Sure.
It's such a piece of jewelry to me that some of them, the batteries are dead, and I'll just wear it.
You'll still wear them.
I'm not looking at the time on it. I just think I like the way it looks.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Someone walks up to Tom. What time is it? I don't fucking know.
Check your phone like a person, weirdo. This story's so weird. Cecil is the weirdest story.
So here's the
ever.
thing. This is a NYPD sergeant, serial litterer, got caught as a serial litterer. And here's what I don't understand. How do you notice in New York? How on earth did somebody catch him?
It's the only trash that's not in a bag or chased by a rat.
It's not leaking juice.
It's not leaking juice. This is actually, here's the thing. This person was for like a long time littering thousands of pages, reams and reams, thousands of pages of like random shit that they cut out of like Bibles and porno mags and like fucking all kind like physics books.
Yeah.
Just like, and they would just drive, and just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages just scattered across the streets of New York. And like, that just cleans up the city. Because those pages
soaks up the juice.
That's what it's to say.
Yeah.
Like a sheet of fucking pornography.
Yeah.
Wafting its way gently onto the streets of New York soaks up the scum.
When you were a kid,
Yeah.
and you go fishing,
Yeah.
and you fillet the fish, you put it in some newspaper, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
That's exactly what this is. You're basically, these are the newspaper for the dead fish of the city
Yes,
of New York.
that is.
And that's what this is. They should give this guy the key to the city.
They should.
Are you kidding me?
Look, what would you rather walk on? A New York City sidewalk with your feet. Let's say, Cecil, real question, real talk here. Real talk. Cecil, real talk. Your shoes are missing. Your socks are missing.
Sure,
You're just in your fucking bare
Yikes.
biscuits walking down the street.
Yikes.
Now, you see up ahead, there's a street, New York Street,
Yeah. Up ahead is a signpost.
doesn't have,
The time. The Twilight Zone. Go ahead.
it doesn't have thousands of pages of paper all strewn across it. Across the street is that same sidewalk, thousands of pieces of paper.
Oh, yeah.
Which are you picking?
Oh, it's paper.
It is
100%
cleaner to walk on litter.
100%.
It is cleaner to walk on litter.
My favorite photo of visiting New York is when I was walking around with Eli, and Eli and I are hanging out, and I made him take a selfie in front of one of the piles of garbage. And so I have a selfie of Eli and I got my arm around Eli, and I took a big selfie, and I got a giant like grin on my face, and he's got this like sad face. And it's the funniest shit because there's a pile of garbage as tall as Eli behind him. And it's just on the street. It's just like literally on the sidewalk, like a gigantic car-sized pile of garbage.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we should definitely take a selfie in front of this.
Well, here's the good thing. If for some reason you had gone to take that selfie and your phone had died in just that moment, you could come back to New York at any time and get that selfie. That pile of garbage?
No, it's not. That was not a time-sensitive pile of
That is
garbage. No.
Hey, you know what's
Yeah.
on the streets of New York right now?
Yeah.
Piles of fucking
garbage.
putrid trash.
Piles of garbage. I can't imagine. I know that in certain times they've had like worker
Garbage
strikes.
Yeah.
I could not imagine. It would have to, I mean, seriously, it would be like living in a plague city.
Yeah. There is no amount of money I would not sign a referendum for.
Yeah.
Like if I lived in New York,
whatever they
those
want.
guys would be driving around
Yeah.
in fucking like gold-plated trash trucks, dude. Absolutely. They would
be carried on like a litter or whatever
yes.
away, and then they'd slowly climb off of it, throw the garbage in, and get back on, and someone
Yeah.
would carry them back up to the front of the car.
100%. I don't care if they're lighting their cigars with $1,000 bills. I don't care. You're the fucking trash guy in New York.
You're the richest,
king of New
you're
York,
the richest
motherfucker.
man ever.
That's
period.
it.
That's amazing.
That's it. I do want to mention from that story though, is they caught the fucking guy. He's a sergeant,
Sure.
and he gets suspended with 1 day lost vacation.
He got a tiny slap on the wrist for like shitting paper for like a long
Years.
time. Yeah.
Like thousands of pages,
Yeah.
and they're like, well, he's a cop, so
He's
he
a cop,
loses
so it
1 day
doesn't
of
matter.
vacation.
Literally doesn't matter. He
Right.
can do whatever he wants.
This is great too.
This is so crazy.
This is from
so
NDTV.
This proves to me that we're living in a simulation.
Yes.
Like this is hard proof we're living in a simulation.
The real Barbenheimer theater mistakenly plays Oppenheimer with Barbie subtitles.
And the best part is if you're watching this, you could see there's an image of the guy Cillian, whatever his name is, the guy who plays Oppenheimer in the movie, Cillian something Murphy, maybe his name is, or his name's Killian Murphy. I don't know how to say it, but in any case, that guy who's playing Oppenheimer is standing there and he's kind of looking out in some sort of science setting, and underneath it the subtitles say, "Barbie, we're so happy to see you." I would pay extra to see Oppenheimer with Barbie subtitles.
Do you think that they sync up like watching like playing that Pink Floyd
Pink
album?
Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon,
yeah.
and then Wizard of Oz.
Do you think they sync up?
I think this is the
I
new
think
thing.
they sync up.
To be honest, I think that this should be the new sort of riff tracks. I would watch a ton of movies that I probably have seen in the past if they put a different movie's subtitle on it.
Yes.
I would absolutely do that.
I
I
bet
think
this
that
would
would be
be-
an absolute hoot to do.
We should
Really disparate movies
Yeah.
too, like
Like Oppenheimer and Barbie.
No, like have like one of these happy romantic comedies and like a slasher movie,
Right,
as
yeah.
the subtitles.
That'd be a fucking
It would
hoot,
be a
dude.
blast to
That would
see
be
that. It would
awesome.
be fun. And I think if you watch it, you have to watch it with the sound off.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can't.
So there's no distraction. So you're
there's no
only-
distraction. You
yeah.
don't get to hear what they're saying. You have to watch it with the sound off, so you get to watch what's happening. And then, like once in a while, there'll
Yeah.
just be something. And I think that would be. I don't know if it would be just be so dissonant it wouldn't be fun to do, or if it would be an absolute hoot. But
I don't
think,
know.
I think that's a great idea.
I bet 9 times out of 10 it would be nonsense.
Yeah.
And 1 time out of 10 it would be the best.
But I
you know, like
think-
Jurassic
yeah.
Park with like when Harry met Sally.
Oh, it'd be-
you know, you're just like, what the fuck? It'd be awesome.
That guy's getting eaten by the dinosaur, and it's the Sally part where she's having an orgasm.
Or there's a scene where she's having the orgasm and instead it's like it's supposed to look like the dinosaur roaring, that big T-Rex, you know?
It'd be amazing. I really think there's something to be had here. I think there's a funny riff track like thing that could be created out of this.
Absolutely.
I think this is so funny. And what I love too is that these movies, they have been kind of juggernauts. Like
They're
I've been
fucking
hearing,
huge. They're
I've been hearing
cultural
about both of these
explosions, yeah.
so much. Like it's a culture, like you say, culture explosion almost. Explosion in more ways than one with Oppenheimer. But people have been really raving about
Really
Oppenheimer.
detonating the box office.
Been really raving about it though. Like I'm interested to see Oppenheimer. I think it'll be good. I'm interested to see
I am
it.
too, and I am interested to see Barbie as well. Like Haley and her friend and my stepdaughter are all going this Sunday.
Oh, nice.
They're all going to see the Barbie movie, and the Barbie movie interests me a lot actually because,
Margot Robbie. Duh.
well, I'm just saying I'm interested.
Duh.
I'm just
Come
saying
on
I'm
now.
interested.
Margot Robbie.
All of my news podcasts that I listen to in the morning, all of them have had an entire morning's feature on Barbie.
No kidding.
Yeah. All of them at one point have had my big news podcast.
Good.
Like they've all had a feature story about Barbie, and I am totally intrigued.
Yeah.
I absolutely want to see it.
I probably will see it eventually.
Like I don't want to horn in on the girls' day
Yeah,
thing,
no,
you know.
yeah,
It's like
that's
that's their thing. Go see the movie.
Yeah.
But like part of me is like, well, I want to go. You know, like
We could be two old creepy dudes and go.
dude, we should go together.
No,
we should dress
I
as Ken
won't.
and go together.
Oh my God.
Can we?
Oh, that'd be so
Can we
funny.
dress as Ken and go together? We gotta dress as Ken and go to the Barbie movie.
That'd be so funny and weird.
I'll wear the
dressed as
sweater
Ken.
around my
Oh,
my
God.
shoulders or whatever.
Oh man. I think I deserve to be punched if I dress like that. I'd welcome it. I'd be like, nah, it's cool. You can hit me. We'd be the creepy old guys in the because from what I'm hearing is like it's a lot of kids are going because it's
Yeah, but it's a PG-13
It's
movie.
not aimed at kids,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of people are bringing their kids.
They are.
because
They're
it's
bringing their
kids. But I'm interested to see them both. I'm interested.
I
I
wanna see
heard
them
good
both,
reviews of Oppenheimer too.
Same, man.
And that's an interesting. By the way, if you're interested in a very sort of irreverent, funny, somewhat dated book, Richard Feynman wrote a book, and his book is sort of it's a biography of his life, kind of as a misfit, sort of. Just he's just a really smart guy and kind of didn't fit anywhere. He's kind of with dork throughout all his life, and he sort of embraces it throughout his whole life. And he tells the story of his life, of how he sort of became curious, and then eventually went on to MIT, and then he went on to go study at a different school for his physics degree. And like while he was doing his PhD, he was pulled into this project.
Oh, really?
So he was pulled into Los Alamos and knew Oppenheimer and knew these other people who were
that's
doing
cool.
all this stuff. And so he had a firsthand experience that he tells in the book. And so 4 or 5 chapters of it is him at Los Alamos talking about, because at the same time, his wife is dying of tuberculosis. And so he's down there with her because it's a good place for someone who's, sort of dying of tuberculosis to be in the desert or whatever. And like they're
dry air
doing
and
that.
all
Yeah.
that.
So they're doing that sort of thing. And again, it's back in
Free
the day.
X-rays.
It's true. It's true. And he's
gamma
part of,
rays, too. That's
he's
a bit of a
part of that
bummer.
thing. And it's funny because like there is also in the book some where he's excited about the bomb working, but then also recognizes many years, like a year later, like the devastation, and is sort of comes to terms with the things that he had done. And so I think it's an interesting book. It's very sexist because it's written in a time past.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of sort of feels like sexism in there.
Sure.
So it's not, there's some parts of it that I'm not crazy about, but there is certainly an interesting touch. And he has this long piece about him at Los Alamos, and it's a first-hand account because he's a young PhD student.
Wow.
And his whole thing was that he wasn't afraid to whenever he says throughout the book many times, whenever I talk about physics, I lose my mind and I lose my place. So that means that if somebody has an idea and they're wrong, he will tell them they're wrong.
Right.
And that was a big thing with like the physicists there. Nobody wanted to push back on bad ideas.
Oh,
and he
I
was
gotcha.
one of the few people who was like, no, you're crazy. That's not going to work. And then that was why he finally.
That's his big advantage.
That's his big advantage
superpower,
over
yeah.
everybody else, is that he's willing to say things that other people might not to keep their reputation. And so that's sort of his thing. But he's a really interesting dude, and this is a part of his life. And so I'm interested to see the movie because I read the book. And so, I didn't read the book about him, but I read a book about the time and what was created and how they did it.
Yeah, I want to see them both. Like, this is like, I've not been excited for any movie in years.
Yeah.
Like, I just, because it's been a lot of superhero shit for a long time.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You know?
I was excited for Dune, and I'm excited to see Dune.
Still haven't seen that, even though I read it.
I loved it. I thought Dune was an excellent movie.
There's a new Wes Anderson movie out. Do you like the Wes Anderson movies?
I never liked Wes Anderson.
I fucking love those movies.
I hate those movies.
Oh, I
hate them like with a passion.
I love them all so
with
much.
With a passion, I hate them. God, I want to punch that guy. I want to fight him. I want to get in a cage, an octagon with Wes Anderson.
Oh, come on. I
want to fight Wes Anderson.
This is why we don't do a movie
That's why we don't do a movie show anymore. No, but there's been a couple movies, but you're right, they're all superhero, and I don't like superhero movies anymore. Yeah. Like, I stopped liking them. I just don't. There's too many of them. They come out at such regularity, and they're all very similar, and they're all kind of. And at this point now, you've sort of run through, I think, the really good stuff that they've done, and now you're getting into the weird stuff, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't mind. All right, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom, here's what I want to say about this.
Let's talk, buddy.
I really feel like there's a lot going on in the world. And what we don't need is cocaine sharks. We don't need frenzied cocaine sharks.
See, so I love you, and I don't mean any disrespect by this joke, but when people are losing their jobs, and some researcher is like, somebody's like, what do you do? And they talk to him. He's like, well, I'm studying to see what happens if you fuck sharks up on coke. And it's like, yeah, man.
If a shark does a bump, what happens?
Like, what the fuck? So here's the thing. This is literally, there are researchers who are like, a lot of cocaine gets dumped in the ocean. I wonder what sharks think of cocaine. And then they're like, well, let's see how sharks do when they're all fucking hopped up on coke. And it turns out, well, they're not even.
They're hopped up on something that they think is like a similar dopamine thing.
Similar, yeah. So the sharks go fucking cuckoo for it. Like, they go fucking cuckoo for Cocoa
My
Puffs.
favorite line in here is this one where it says, during one dive to observe behavior, a great hammerhead, a species which normally avoids humans, came straight at the team and appeared to be swimming wonkily. It had a hat on and had a chocolate factory.
I love that there's some researchers like, okay, the swimming is, okay, it's a little disjointed. It's more than disjointed. It's moving up the scale. It's not disjointed anymore. He's all the way to wonky. He's moving wonkily, everybody.
The little guys come out and they're orange and they're doing their little dance. And they sing their little song, and then that blueberry girl floats away. She turns into a bobber, and they're like fishing for sharks.
Somebody asked the researcher how he got his job. I got a golden ticket.
It's a golden ticket. Yeah.
So they're like, then we put not just Coke in the water, but just like stuff that looks like
stuff that looks, and then the sharks are like, give me that. Instead of fake animals, they put like swans in the water, fake swans,
right,
to see if they would go for the fake swans or the fake keys of Coke.
And the sharks were like, we want that Coke.
The shark took the Coke and went away. It like ran to the bathroom in the nightclub to go do it.
Researchers also recorded a sandbar shark, which appeared to be fixated on something and swimming in tight circles despite there being nothing in sight. This is the line
Tight
where
circles. Hold on, it's that commercial. It's like, I do more Coke so I could buy more, so I could work harder, so I could spend more money,
Yes.
so I could buy more Coke, so I could work harder, so I could.
swimming around in circles despite there being nothing in sight, and being on coke. This is the first time I realized that Heath Enright is a sandbar shark. I had no idea that Heath Enright was a sandbar shark. It's not surprising, but it's a little surprising.
He grabs you in the middle of the night to tell you how good penne pizza is. Yeah.
This story is just a little sad. This story comes
sad.
from
And
Leeds
that
Live.
picture. That poor picture.
Panicked squirrel trapped inside toilet roll 30 feet up tree as fire brigade called to
It
Leeds
really
Park.
is too trapped in it. Look at this poor little guy. He got caught in it and then he's stuck in it.
He is. But I love that somebody sees a squirrel with a fucking toilet paper roll on its head and they call and the fire brigade comes out
And
for
they're
the
like,
squirrel.
no, man, we got this. We're
Yeah.
going to climb up a tree. We're going to do some rope stuff.
I do love the and I don't know if it's dissonant or what, but I love that we live in a society that's whatever, we'll run over all the squirrels.
Oh, yeah.
We're not gonna swerve, we'll run them over. We're not terribly humane to animals, but every once in a while, if we get a chance to do something nice,
Yeah,
we'll
do it.
we'll cut a fucking 6-pack ring off a pelican's nuts or whatever. We'll take a toilet paper roll off a squirrel.
Poor pelican. Worst part is when somebody comes in and takes a soda because you're like,
right.
oh, that'll make you cringe. You know what I mean? That'll make you
Then
cringe.
they use his beak as the bottle opener. It's a
man.
whole thing.
We also, when I was in Norway, we visited. They called it a polar park, but it was a zoo. But not a zoo. So unlike zoos, which just are like, here's a small closet that we put this tiger in.
Yeah,
and he's
right,
gonna walk back and forth until he goes crazy.
Right.
This was the wolf area that we saw was huge. So there's got a huge fence around it, and then it just goes back into the forest. And then they feed the animals. They feed them through the fence. They throw stuff over and whatnot. And the guy who was walking us around and giving us a tour, he had a bucket full of lamb meat that they had gotten from the butcher. And he was just throwing it over the thing. And these wolves came out when he called to them because they knew it was bucket feeding
bucket
time.
time, yeah.
And they came running out. And then they were just sitting there eating some of the stuff. But there was bears in this thing that were there. And I got a chance to see the bears in this big, and it's in a big enclosure. It's not like just a little enclosure. This is a huge, you can't see the back of it. It goes off into the forest. It's a massive. And then they had, they just had all kind of indigenous animals to the area. So they had a small fox.
Yeah, so they weren't trying to have a bunch of shit that doesn't live there.
No, these are all
here's a
things.
Norwegian elephant.
Yeah. They had a moose, but they only had one because they have that chronic wasting disease up there, and they don't want to introduce moose to each other because they might spread it, and so they have to make sure they don't have it before they put them together or something like that. And so there's only one moose now, but they're hoping to get a small herd together that doesn't have this disease, so they can continue to grow. They had musk ox, which I had never really seen one in person.
That's got to be a big fucker.
It's it looks like a yak or something. It's like a big old yak-like animal. And then they had, they had a bunch of reindeer. Again, another animal I hadn't seen in person. And you could see them in the distance. They didn't come close to us, but you could see them in the distance.
Well, that's because that sleigh is such a bitch.
Yeah,
for them to
the
drag
one
around.
I could only see him far away because the one had the red nose.
Yeah, right, it blinks.
So for sure. And then but it was interesting to be in a place where there was a definite. And I don't know many zoos, right? I only know the few zoos that are around here.
Yeah.
But it felt like a definite shift from the things that we do here with zoos, where there's sort of this, things are in cages and they're in a small place, and you go to those places and then you ogle at the creatures and then you leave.
Right. Yeah.
And I know that there is some good science that happens at zoos, but I know that I also have seen the enclosures and thought to myself, God, it looks really small.
It looks like balls. Yeah,
it looks
bad.
It looks like it sucks.
It looks bad.
So it looks different. It looked like a different sort of place. I don't know though. Have you been to a lot of zoos?
I don't know if I've been to a lot of zoos. I've been to several zoos. I kind of like the zoo.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of controversy around zoos, and none of it is new.
Yeah.
Around is it really that humane? And I think that probably that's a very fair criticism. I think, though, that like there's a counter to that, which is that giving people a connection to animals that they otherwise wouldn't have any connection to probably encourages
probably is better.
Better conservation and better funding for conservation and better habits toward conservation as a whole. So like maybe that one tiger is not better off, but maybe tigers as a whole are better off.
Yeah, because you know that they're endangered or whatever.
It's not just a picture I saw.
Yeah, it's not a picture or a movie you saw.
Right.
It's a thing you saw in person.
Yeah. So I think that there is some benefit to that.
Yeah. I haven't been, I know that there's supposed to be amazing zoos in the States. I know that like San Diego is supposed to have a really good one.
That's the one everyone raves about. Is the San Diego zoo.
Have you
I've not been there.
No, everybody always says that that's the main one.
The zoo down in St. Louis is actually really cool.
Is it good?
It's a good zoo.
Is it?
It's a really cool zoo.
I also heard that there's a couple in like in Ohio that are supposed to be really good too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but wait.
Do you like the zoo?
I haven't. The only zoo that I ever visited was the free one that was in Chicago,
Lincoln Park.
And I would go there specifically if there was like lights or something happening in the park, and once in a while we'd sort of wander through there. But we never visited I never went on purpose.
Right.
It was always kind of ancillary to the things that we were doing.
Sure.
So if we were in the area and there was something going on there, maybe we'd visit. But we never
go just for the zoo.
We never woke up on Saturday morning excited to go to the zoo. That never happened. But it was a really interesting experience to be on vacation and visit that park though, because that was it felt zoo-ish because you're walking through it in a path that's like a place where you can walk through it.
Sure, and there's enclosures.
So it felt zoo-ish, but it felt very different too at the same time.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
That sounds really cool.
I didn't have to pull a toilet paper roll off anything's head though. So.
But you would have if you were.
And they would have too. They would have too. You know what was interesting too is that one of the guys was from Denmark who was given the tour, and he was saying that their schooling there is 3 months of classes, and then he spends 8 months at the zoo doing practical work with animals, and he's becoming a zoologist. But he spends 3 months in classes and then 8 months working directly with the animals as like a fellowship sort of worker.
Now, how does practical experience replace the mind-numbing tedium?
Tom, you'd have to ask him.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right. Okay, this story, I'm reading the whole thing.
Yeah, this is the one we've been waiting.
I've been waiting all night.
We've been waiting all night.
The story's from Fox 61. Poop spilled from semi-truck causes multiple crashes on I-95, said the police. Shaky Stevenson Joseph, 34 of Waterbury, was arrested and charged.
First name Shaky.
Who's like Cecil?
Let me ask you really quickly before you start.
Okay.
Is Shaky a first name or an honorific? Because it could be that that's his title.
Oh, yeah.
You know
what do you do to earn the title of Shaky?
Like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you have to be a cocaine shark.
Hey, if you're yourself more than 3 times, you're just playing with you. Cecil, let's say you own a trucking company.
Oh yeah, sure.
You own a truck. You're the owner of the trucking company.
I am the dispatcher and the owner. Sure.
We have a load of poop.
Poop.
Needs to be driven around for whatever.
Sure. No, yeah.
Poop transport.
Yeah, absolutely. Poop transportation is a big industry.
Who are you giving that driving assignment to? Can you give me a name?
It's not going to be the Poop Smith. It's definitely going to be Shaky Stevenson.
Who hands the keys to a poop truck to a guy named Shaky? Are you fucking serious?
This is the greatest story in the history of mankind. This is again a reason to believe we're in a simulation.
Yes.
This is it.
All right, so here we go. Bridgeport, Connecticut. A Waterbury man was arrested for spilling poop. And I love, too, it's not feces.
Oh, I love that it's
They're
poop.
just calling it poop.
I love that it's poop. This is so good.
From a semi-truck on I-95 northbound and causing multiple car crashes due to the slick roadways. People are driving around in a slip and slide of shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of skid marks.
Yes. That's it. That's the show, guys. At around 10:33. Not at around 10:30, but at around 10:33.
I was going to look at my watch, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah. This reporting is crap. On Monday, Connecticut State Police Troop G was called to the area between exit 27 and exit 30.
They have a whole Troop G that's like a poop patrol? What is happening here?
On I-95 northbound in Bridgeport for reports of a large semi-truck spilling an unknown substance onto the roadway from the trailer. The tractor-trailer did not stop and exited the highway onto the local streets. Well, I mean, if it was going fast, it would definitely be the Express. I've had that.
You're drinking enough coffee, it's all Express.
Police said multiple car crash. Do you think when he got pulled over, he's like, I had to stop, I had diarrhea. I had to keep going, I had diarrhea. Police said multiple car crashes were reported in the area due to the slick roadway. 2 Connecticut State Police cruisers were also involved in different car crashes as a result of the slick roadway.
Could you imagine getting into a crash and then you get out and you step in like an inch of poop?
And you're just like, this is a shitty
Where
day.
am I, New York? What is happening?
Following an investigation, the driver of the tractor trailer was identified as Shaky Stevenson Joseph.
Yes.
Shaky.
Yes.
Shaky Joe.
Yes. Shaky Joe.
Literally Shaky Joe.
Shaky Joe was driving.
34 of Waterbury, Joe was contacted by his employer to pull over his tractor trailer to the right shoulder. Who cares? Joseph was charged in violation of 12 counts of reckless endangerment of first degree, reckless driving, and operation of a motor vehicle with an unsecured load.
You win. You win, Fox 61. You win. That is the best line.
Perfect.
We do these
Mwah.
every other week. That is a perfectly written
That's
line.
it.
If this guy doesn't win the Pulitzer, I'm going to be pissed
it.
off. I'm going to be
There's no
so
reason to
mad.
have reporting anymore.
That is the greatest line
I'm gonna
I've
have
ever
to
heard in my
cite
entire
your
life.
shit truck.
It's the best line in the world. An unsecured.
Wouldn't it be awesome if he pulled over and he's like, look, I'm really sorry. I just thought it was a little bit of gas. I definitely shouldn't have trusted that.
It's a shark truck. Could you imagine the cleanup and they just have a big pile of toilet paper they're just pushing down the street? There's a couple guys on a big, just giant wad of toilet paper that they're wiping.
It could have
and then the next guy behind him's with wet wipes. He's like wiping it up.
It could have been way worse if a Charmin truck hadn't crashed right behind it, you know? Just
There's like a roving bidet truck that's just shooting
Spraying the
stuff,
water at him.
spraying the water up. There's a power washer. Oh god!
I know we shouldn't have fucking put that thing on the squatty potty before we drove away.
So good, man. That's so fucking amazing. What a genius fucking article.
God, it's so good.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's Funny Edition. We'll be back on Monday. We, of course, encourage people to become patrons to get your feed, your podcast feed commercial free. You can become a patron at patreon.com/dissonancepod or dissonancepod.com, and you can follow the link to Patreon there. We, of course, encourage everyone to become patrons to get that commercial-free podcast. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. We're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno-Babylon bullshit. Couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized, stereogram, pyramidal, free energy healing, watered downward spiral, brain deadpan sales pitch, late night info docutainment. Leo, Pisces, cancer cures, detox, reflex, foot massage, death in towers, tarot cards, psychic healing, crystal balls, Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, churches, mosques and synagogues, temples, dragons, giant worms, Atlantis, dolphins, truthers, birthers, witches, wizards, vaccine nuts, shaman healers, evangelists, conspiracy, doublespeak, stigmata, nonsense. Expose your sides. Thrust your hands, bloody, evidential, conclusive. Doubt even this.
The opinions and information provided on this podcast are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of Glory Hole Studios, LLC. Cognitive Dissonance makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, currentness, suitability, or validity of any information, and will not be liable for any errors, damages, or butthurt arising from consumption. All information is provided on an as-is basis. No refunds. Produced in association with the local Dairy Council and viewers like you.